Okay, good morning, Central Georgia. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. We're hopping on the live stream because we're doing this dance again. We have another cold front coming into the area, and that's going to bring along with it a line of showers and a couple of storms as well for tomorrow morning. So we're going to take the time to kind of break down the forecast a little bit further. I'm going to take the time to turn to the chat and also answer some of your questions about tomorrow morning as well. But we're just kind of going to go in depth and go through the forecast. We've done this dance before. You know how the drill goes. So we're going to start right now with, I'm going to take this full screen for you. And I am going to start with popping up our current radar, because sometimes when we have events like this, when it's already kind of muggy and dreary outside, it may be a little confusing, like, oh, is this about to happen? But no, the clouds and some of the occasional drizzle that you're seeing this morning is not a part of the showers and storms that we're going to be seeing. This is just for today. We're going to have a lot of cloud cover today, and we'll have an occasional drizzle, but overall today should stay mostly dry. If we take it actually big picture and you look way out to the west, really over Arkansas right now, and I can kind of take my arrow out and I will point out what I'm talking about. This area right here over Arkansas and some of the showers that are popping up over Louisiana as well, that is a part of the line that's heading our direction, and that's what's going to be the driving force of our showers and storms for tomorrow morning. So it's already starting to form just a little bit. That cold front kind of already pushing a couple showers up in that area. And I do want to mention, this is the area where it's going to be a lot more severe than what we're going to see all the way out here in Central Georgia. So let's actually just go ahead and play that out on the future view. So I'm going to show you this big picture future view first, and then I'll take you a little more locally to what's going on specifically here in Central Georgia. So you saw that line come together, and I'll play it back one more time. Those couple showers that we're seeing right now clumping together ahead of the cold front and then starting to form a true line, and it just keeps pushing its way east. And I'm stopping it here to show you kind of what the worst part of it is going to look like. The level 3 risk that the Storm Prediction Center has outlined is really over most of Mississippi, parts of western Alabama, and then it kind of starts to die down as it heads further east. So continuing to watch this line make its way towards our area and actually losing steam just a little bit. So you kind of can tell some of those purple colors that you're seeing on the future view fading out as it makes its way closer to us. And then a little bit just kind of continuing to thin out. You may be able to see that a little bit too. Some of those red colors thinning out into more yellow and green. That just shows signs of weakening as it pushes its way across our area specifically. So that's what it kind of does there. And then it's out of our area by around 9, maybe 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, and just leaves behind a couple of lingering showers. But after that, as we start looking at Sunday afternoon, heading into Sunday evening, we're nice and clear. We just got to make it through this really early morning hour period on Sunday morning. And then we're looking at a much clearer view. So that's kind of what it looks like big picture. And you can see now what I'm talking about in terms of how that lines up with what the Storm Prediction Center has outlined. So let me actually take you back here to the big picture. So the level 3 is the highest risk that we have outlined by the Storm Prediction Center right now. That is well over Mississippi, parts of western Alabama, northern Louisiana, and southeastern Arkansas. So that's where we're going to see the strongest storms, the more intense impacts. And you'll notice all the way here in Central Georgia, we're sitting in a much lower risk. We'll call this a low end level 1 because really it's going to continue dying down as it pushes across our area. Now, what you may have seen if you did catch the forecast this morning is that the Storm Prediction Center has this split up into 2 days. So I want you to kind of imagine here that every county in Central Georgia is outlined in this level 1 risk, because if we look at Sunday's risk, everybody else that's not included is outlined in that. So the reason this is split up into 2 days, and honestly, I wish that they would have just kept it as 1, is because they're trying to emphasize the difference between late Saturday night and early Sunday morning. But for us here in Central Georgia, it's all going to be early Sunday morning. So really just kind of take this picture, the western counties that are kind of outlined in the level 2, and just add everybody else who's not outlined in a risk into the level 1, because they have it split up into 2 days, and it really, for us, it's just Sunday morning that we're talking about. So don't get too hung up on that, but that's just kind of showing you not necessarily, like you can see there on the map that it would look like Telfair, Wheeler, Montgomery, Treutlen. A lot of those counties would be excluded, but they're not. Everybody is under this level 1 risk. Okay, so with that kind of out of the way here, we can take it a little more locally, talking about the specific timing here in central Georgia, who's going to see what and when. Now, like I said, for the rest of today, this is not going to be a problem. All the way through tonight, we're going to stay mostly dry aside from a few sprinkles. It's not till about the 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. hour that our northwestern counties may start hearing some rain on the roof, may start hearing a couple of rumbles of thunder in the distance, and then this line truly starts pushing its way through here at around 5 to 6 a.m. So this moves pretty quick. You saw that, right? It's already in our northwestern counties, kind of entering Upson and Lamar counties by 5 a.m. and then already in the Macon and Warner Robins area by 6 a.m. So this is going to be a pretty quick mover, and it's just going to keep making its way all the way across central Georgia, maybe in the Dublin area by around 7 a.m. But you can see how much it weakens as it comes across. That true strong line already kind of fading by the time it makes its way from Bibb County all the way to Lawrence. So it's going to keep weakening as it pushes further towards the southeast, and then it's going to make its way fully out of here by around 9 to 10 a.m. What you see behind the line, maybe just a couple of lingering showers. Those likely won't have many impacts as opposed to that initial brunt of the line. And then, like I said earlier, by the time we're sitting in Sunday afternoon, it's going to be a totally different picture in our area. It's going to be clear. We'll likely have some winds like we usually do with a cold front, and the skies will be nice and sunny, and it's going to be a lot colder. Probably one of those weird days where we hit our high temperature in the early morning hours. So that's the specific timing of this whole thing. But what exactly, actually I'll show you one more model just to kind of show you that it's echoing the same kind of idea. This is the HER model. What I just showed you was the graph model. Having this line come through into our northwestern by around 5 a.m. and then again, middle central Georgia, Macon, Warner Robins area by around 6 a.m. and heading towards the southeast as a slightly weaker line by 8 to 9 a.m. and then we are kicking this thing out of here by the time we hit the afternoon. So really just that early morning hours is when we're going to be looking to deal with this. So let's talk a little bit about what we're actually expecting in terms of impacts. And I'll show you this future view winds to kind of give you an idea that I think the main thing that we're going to be paying attention to as this comes through is likely just some pretty gusty winds. So you can see where that front's making its way towards us. And by the time it does get to our area, it does kick up some pretty good wind gusts. So we could see wind gusts 40 miles per hour or greater. If we do have a severe thunderstorm warning issued, that means we would be seeing wind speeds 58 miles per hour or greater. So as it gets through here, it's going to get pretty gusty in a couple of spots as it just kind of takes its time getting through here. And then even after it pushes through, we have just picked up winds in general from what you have after a cold front comes through. And that's just going to keep on having some steady winds throughout the rest of Sunday. And then by the time we head into Monday, things should be calming down. But I think that's going to be one of the main impacts that we have as this line comes through is the chance to see some gusty winds similar to what you saw earlier this week. I think this is honestly kind of a rinse and repeat forecast in the sense that we're going to have this line coming through that maybe has a couple of storms that could be strong, maybe a couple of storms reaching the severe thunderstorm threshold. But other than that, we're just talking about some gusty winds along with this. Now, we put up some pretty impressive rainfall totals earlier this week, but with this, because it's such a fast mover, I don't think that we're going to accumulate a ton in terms of rainfall totals. We're talking somewhere between half an inch to maybe just shy of an inch. So not necessarily talking about a great flooding potential with this event in particular, but because we already racked on rainfall totals earlier this week, it is going to be something to pay attention to. We are still in aerial flood warnings for the Ocmulgee and the Oconee rivers, and any kind of rainfall that we add onto this is probably going to extend our time in the flood warning for these areas. So I think this flood warning extends right now until about Wednesday, and if we do kind of rack on some more rainfall totals tomorrow, I think it may push us a little bit further into flood warning for a little bit longer. So to kind of go big picture in terms of everything that I just said, we're talking about Sunday morning. I'll give you this graphic here just to lay out everything I just said, and then I will turn to the chat and answer some of your questions here. We're talking about Sunday morning, so likely just being aware from around 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. in our area. This is going to start in our northwestern counties. So the further northwest you are, the earlier you're going to see this line come across. Again, Macon, Warner Robins area, that's going to be to you around 6 a.m. So still really early morning hours. You're probably going to want to have a way to get alerts if you're going to be sleeping during that time, or if you're planning on heading out to church early in the morning. Just make it a plan, being aware, because this is going to take its time kind of rolling across our area Sunday morning. It's a line of showers and storms attached to a cold front. A few of these storms could be strong. We could see a couple severe thunderstorm warnings with these, but I think the main thing that we're going to be watching tomorrow morning is some gusty winds. So we could see some wind speeds, wind gusts in that 40 mile per hour range. And then of course, if we do have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings, we could be seeing higher wind speeds than that. So I give you that just as sort of a big picture to everything I just said, and I'll kind of leave that there while I turn to the Facebook chat to see if there's any specific questions that I can answer for you all. And I actually don't see any questions at the moment, but let me refresh my Facebook. It may just be me. As far as what I can see here on Facebook, I don't see any specific questions. Perhaps that just means we don't have any, or I hope that that's what that means on my end. This is all I can see. But I can just go through just one more time the specific timing of the whole thing, just in case we just would need to do it one more time and kind of show you what we will specifically be dealing with. So again, 4 to 5 a.m. in our northwestern counties. And I will say, because this line weakens as it heads further towards the southeast, if you are in our northwestern counties, so if you are in Lamar, Macon, Taylor, the west end of Crawford County, the northwest end of Monroe County, this is where it's probably going to be strongest as it rolls through, because again, it weakens as it comes across. So we could be seeing probably the strongest impacts in those areas, and then pushing further into central Georgia, again, it just kind of gets weaker and weaker. I will say everybody should just be aware, be weather aware, have weather alerts, because it's still going to hold together as it comes across. But if we do have some particularly strong winds or some nasty lightning or just particularly stronger thunderstorms in general, I think it's going to be in this early morning hours here as it kind of comes through the northwest, and then it's going to keep making its way through central Georgia until it's in our southeastern counties as a much weaker line by, again, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., all the way making its way out of here by 10 a.m. I think around then is when we'll be able to issue a sort of all clear for our area. And it's going to be nice and clear Sunday. So if you have afternoon plans for Sunday after the morning time, then you should still be good to go ahead with those. It should still be nice weather after this line finally comes through. But again, the early morning hours, not so much. Maybe early enough to still kind of sneak out to church. I know a lot of church services are 9, 10, maybe 11 a.m. And hopefully by that time, especially if you're in the northern counties, you may be able to sneak your way out the door. But if you have a super early church service that maybe starts 7, 8 a.m. and you're in our southeastern counties, I would just pay attention to the forecast before you head out the door, because this could have a little bit of an impact, especially on the roads when we're just dealing with these really gusty winds and these potential thunderstorms in a couple of spots. So I will turn to the chat one more time, because now I'm starting to see some questions. So I am seeing questions about, are we expecting rain today also? And I know that's kind of the first thing I address, because it is kind of confusing, right? You're seeing clouds outside, you probably have some drizzle in some areas. So today I will say mostly dry, but there's a chance for a sprinkle or two throughout the day, but nothing heavy at all. You can see that on the future view. We're not really seeing anything organized throughout today and even into the overnight hours. It's not until those really early morning hours for Sunday morning that we start to have impacts from this line. So nothing really for today, maybe just a sprinkle or two. I had one on my way into work this morning. And then that's about it. So Crawford County, I will say same kind of story for everybody. I think everybody has about the same potential to see some stronger thunderstorms and see some gustier winds. But Crawford County, yeah, this should be making its way into that area in that 5 to 6 a.m. time frame. And I did say it's going to be weakening as it heads further towards the southeast. So maybe a little bit stronger while it's in Crawford County. I think our northwestern counties could see, if we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings, I think the highest likelihood is over here in our western counties. And I'll show you that on the SPC risk as well. They kind of outlined our western counties, which is not a huge distinction, but I do think because it's just going to be a little bit stronger when it's out towards the west, that our western counties, it's still going to be holding together a little bit better than by the time it's in our southeastern county. So Crawford County kind of under that same mantra, but generally everybody kind of just looking out for gusty winds, looking out for some lightning strikes, and just a chance for some of these storms to pop up a severe thunderstorm warning. And I'm seeing questions about temperatures dropping again. It will really be by tomorrow. And I can show you our future view temperature map to show you tomorrow's going to be a weird day, not only because of the rain, excuse me, but also because of the temperatures. We'll be in the 70s in the morning time before that line comes through, upper 60s maybe. And then as that cold front pushes through, it's going to be one of those weird days where that's our high temperature at around 6 a.m. And then the temperatures steadily get colder throughout the day. So we'll probably be in the upper 50s, low 60s for the rest of the day tomorrow, and then just continuing to get colder. And then we're relatively colder for Monday as well. Not quite as warm as we are this weekend, but not freezing. We'll be in the upper 50s in terms of high temperatures for Monday. So you will feel a little bit colder after this comes through our area. I'm seeing questions about tornado threat. I'll say with this line, it's not something that I'm particularly concerned about. I would say the chance is not totally zero, but if there was a tornado warning with this line, it would be extremely, extremely brief at the very most. And again, from what I'm seeing from not only the National Weather Service, but also from our model data and the severe weather parameters that we look at behind the scenes, I'm really not impressed with our chance to see a tornado. A brief spin-up tornado is possible. I'll say our chances are not totally zero, but I would say in general, it's not something that I'm overly concerned about. I really don't think that we're going to see one, but it's not a non-zero chance. I would say bigger concern to pay attention to is the chance that some of these thunderstorms could be severe thunderstorms and that they're probably going to bring some gusty winds. So regardless, it's still going to be a little bit gusty for Sunday morning, but tornadoes are not something that I'm overly concerned about for the morning time. I do see a question about the 7-day, so I can pop that up too if you're interested. Let me go to it real quick. That's the 7-day forecast. So again, kind of a weird day for Sunday. It's going to get cooler as we head throughout the day. And then we're clear for Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, you can see a rain chance on there. Both long-range models are showing widespread rain in our area for Wednesday. However, right now it looks to be just rain. I'm not really looking at any storm potential for Wednesday. So good news on that front. And then colder for the rest of the week. Thursday and Friday are going to be significantly colder than the early part of the week. So there's a glance at your 7-day as well. And that is most of the questions that I'm seeing in the chat right now. So I'm going to pop back on here and say that we will continue to be watching this forecast. David Guerrero will be in tonight. Not only will he be doing the 6 p.m. show on 13 WMAZ Plus on the stream, but he'll also be doing an updated stream like this where he can answer questions at 9 p.m. tonight. And then, of course, the 11 p.m. show on 13 WMAZ. And then our whole thing is kicked off tomorrow morning really early. So I'll be here if there is a severe thunderstorm warning. Of course, we will be live with you online and we'll be tracking that. Otherwise, I'll try to give as many updates as I can in the morning hours if things look like they're trending more positive, or they're trending like I'm starting to see the chance for us to see a severe thunderstorm warning, I would try to keep you updated online on 13wmaz.com and on my Facebook page. So that's kind of the timing for the rest of the day today and for tomorrow morning. I'll leave you with this just to say, definitely just be weather aware in the morning hours. We're looking for this time frame to be really, really early in the morning. So this could be when you're sleeping. So having an alert that can wake you up and just being kind of aware, maybe just having the National Weather Service, maybe a weather radio, something like that, just to be aware in the early morning hours. And then this thing will move on here quickly. So by the mid-morning, by the early afternoon Sunday, we'll be done with this, and it'll be a much sunnier Sunday afternoon. So just bear with us for the early morning hours for Sunday. And then after that, you should be able to get on and enjoy the rest of your weekend. So I'll leave you with this. This is what I called kind of my big picture in case you had extra questions about everything we summarized. This is it. And of course, I'll be here tomorrow morning tracking these storms right there with you. So until then, until you see David Guerrero tonight, I hope you have a very, very wonderful Saturday. And I, of course, hope you have a very safe rest of your weekend. And we will cross our fingers to get through these storms and just make it to the sunny part of the weekend. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. And again, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I'll leave you with this.